Hi everyone, my name is J.J. White and I am the pastor at Bentonia Baptist Church. Today on our vlog, we are going to answer a question that so many of you are asking and that so many people are seriously concerned about. And that is, why do Christians need to be in church? You probably asked that. Maybe, you're going to watch this vlog and you haven't been faithfully attending church. Maybe, you haven't been in church in years and maybe you feel like you don't need to be in church. Well, today we're going to look at Hebrews chapter 10. We're going to look at several verses that say otherwise. There are several verses in Hebrews that let us know why every single Christian needs to consistently be in church. We're going to be in Hebrews chapter 10. We're going to read a little bit. Starting at verse 24, the author of Hebrews says, "And let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching." So what he starts off here is that this is the first reason we all need to be in church. He says, let us consider one another. So real quick, this is just a side note. You cannot really consider other Christians. You cannot consider them in regards to how you can help them along in their faith if you never gather together and meet with them. And you need to meet with them consistently. Going to church once or twice a month is not consistently being in church. Church is open Sunday and Wednesday. Our church at least. We have Sunday morning service and we have Wednesday night Bible study. Now we have other Bible studies sporadically throughout the month, but every Sunday and every Wednesday, we at Bentonia Baptist, we meet. And most churches across the nation meet on those days. And you need to be there most of the time. If there are 4 Sundays in your average month and 4 Wednesdays in your average month, that means you should be at church. There's possible for you to be at church 8 times. If you're only there twice a month, that means you are only in church 1/4 of the amount of times the doors are open. You are not a consistent churchgoer if you're at church twice a month. And you will not consistently be considering how you can help your brothers and sisters in Christ because you are not consistently gathering together with them and you don't know what they're struggling with. You need to consistently be there to consider your brothers and sisters. And let me show you what happens when we are consistently in church. Here is one of the main reasons why you must consistently be in church. Let us consider one another in order. So one of the reasons you go to church, one of the reasons you consider one another is for this reason: in order to stir up love and good works. The Greek verb here, it's the same verb or word that would be used when a rider would spur his horse. If the horse begins to slack off, if the horse is not going the speed that the rider desires him to go, he will spur him to increase his speed and remind him he is not fulfilling his job as a horse. And as Christians, even as a pastor, we all need to be spurred along in a spirit of love by our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. Every single one of us, we need to be spurred along so that we know and we understand how we're falling short and how God desires us to get it going and to get it right. And if you're not in church, you're not getting the encouragement or the spurring along you need to live the Christian life the right way, which is the way that God desires it to be lived out as. You're missing out on that spurring along, that reminder of, hey, brother, or hey, sister, you're falling short in this regard, and I love you. And here's what the Bible teaches. I want to come alongside you and help you along. So if you're not consistently in church, you're not spurring others along, and others are not spurring you along. And before long, you are going to begin to compromise in different areas of your life. And you're going to begin to drift into various different types of sin. And it's because you're not consistently in church. But the writer here also says something else. It says, stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assemblings of ourselves together, as is the manner of some. So what's happening here at the church here is some of them are forsaking together the assembling of themselves. They're skipping out on church, and as a result, they're not getting that spurring along I was talking about. And they're also not getting something else. It says here, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, but exhorting one another. And so much more as you see the day approaching. Now, some people read this and they say, oh, well, the day approaching is church. We need to encourage one another to be at church. No, that's not the day. We need to encourage one another and exhort one another to live worthy of the name of Christ, because it is the last hour. John, all the way back in 1 John chapter 2, in verse 18, he says, little children, it is the last hour. It has been the last hour, the last epoch of time on God's calendar since the ascension of Jesus. There is nothing that's holding Jesus back from stepping out on the clouds, from stepping out of heaven. It is near. It can be at any moment. And we need to exhort one another to live worthy of the name of Christ, because it's the last hour. It's the last minute. Jesus is going to return at any moment. And we need to be living worthy of His name. I know that I don't want to be ashamed at His coming. I don't want Him to show up and me be ashamed of the way I've been living my life. So I need church members, I need fellow Christians to bring me encouragement to live worthy of Christ. I need that reminder. You need that reminder. And you're not getting it if you're not consistently in church. So if you go to Bentonia Baptist and you hear this and you've been missing church, we love you. We miss you. We want you back. And we don't want you back because you're a number on our church count. We want you back because you, as well as myself, we all need encouragement to live worthy of the name of Christ. And you're not getting it if you're skipping out on church. And if you go somewhere else, if you're listening to this wherever this message finds you, this is why it's necessary for a Christian to go to church. Because if you don't, you're going to begin to fall short of the glory of God, and you will not live worthy of His name when He does return. And friends, Jesus is coming. It's not long. He will return, and we need to encourage one another to live worthy of the name of Christ. My challenge to you, get in church this Sunday. Make a commitment to be at church every single Sunday, except for those Sundays where you're sick or there's an emergency. Make a commitment to be there and honor your commitment. You need to be in church so you can be encouraged, exhorted, and spurred along to live worthy of the name of Christ.